You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never come.
And welcome back. The spotlight's shining hard on 50 Cent, and this time it's bigger than the documentary. He's revealed that his Netflix series on Diddy barely scratched the surface. 4 episodes weren't enough to contain everything his team uncovered. Some major revelations didn't even make the cut. One personal detail, for instance, got cut for time rather than saved for another season. 50 hinted that unreleased material could drop independently on YouTube. And even more people have come forward with fresh info, fueling the question, why is 50 pushing so hard? Comedian TK Kirkland weighed in, dismissing the idea this is about clout or drama. He says there's a much deeper personal reason driving 50, which explains why this story keeps escalating.
All the women in the world that Diddy could have gotten with, he chose 50 Cent's baby mother.
It's a lot of variables to this particular question. Because I talk to a lot of people, older, younger, even my daughter, who's 22, she didn't understand it. So people give their opinion based on what they've experienced and their environment, people they've been around. So to the people that understand boundaries and respect, I always tell men you should never date another man's girl if you're not aware of it. If you know it.
TK made it clear, crossing certain lines is a major disrespect. 50 has always avoided entangling with anyone linked to close associates. It's an unspoken rule in his world. TK also stressed Diddy isn't short on options. His influence, resources, and global reach are massive, which makes 50's moves even more eyebrow-raising. According to TK, this isn't random or careless, it's calculated, and given the history between Diddy and 50, the intent is unmistakable.
He went after the baby mother of one of his rivals.
Exactly.
Someone who had been taking shots at him for years.
Absolutely.
On purpose.
And he went after her knowing that they had beef.
Right. And slutted her out.
Slut her out.
Just slutted her out.
Slutted out.
Having a whole basketball team run a train on her.
Totally
And
did. I
just
totally
the whole
agree.
thing, right?
Totally agree.
Right.
But his reputation from when he worked at Uptown, I'll be sure's girlfriend.
Oh, Kim Porter.
Kim Porter.
Right.
That's his reputation.
I'll be sure his baby mother.
Baby mama.
Yeah.
Then Eric Serum, his friend, the one that had she had his baby, Mia. So he's had a reputation of going after people.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
He got a baby with her too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point that I'm making to the men listening, well, if you don't understand this, then you just poorly educated and don't really have common sense. It's a no-no. There's no way I would go after Vlad's ex-girlfriend.
Right.
I'm so loyal that if I met a woman and she said, "Oh yeah, I used to date Vlad," I can't f with you, baby.
Right.
I won't even put my, excuse my language, because that's how I move. Other people don't move like that, but you see me in Paris, you see me all over the world. Why would I want to do that to mess up?
Even as 50's documentary dominates attention, not everyone's applauding. Gene Deal entered the conversation with sharp criticism, claiming parts of the project weren't as original as they seemed. He argues some concepts mirrored material he'd shared previously without recognition. Essentially, he's questioning credit and creative integrity, suggesting some of this was recycled rather than freshly investigated. His comments have added controversy, diverting focus from the documentary's momentum and spotlighting how the story came together behind the scenes.
I seen an interview about, he said that he had a lot of footage had to be down, the documentary had to be downsized. You understand? I don't really believe that, because a documentary is a documentary, and they could have had 45 minutes, they could have had an hour, to each one of those. You understand? They left out certain things. He said they even left out the one about Sarah Chapman. You understand? And for whatever reason, he probably left out a lot of other different stars too. Situations that they could have spoke about. You understand? I have a problem with the documentary, and I'm just gonna let you know that the reason I have a problem with the documentary is that they know that they took my idea. You understand? They know that when I came to them, I laid out what they should do and how the documentary should be. You understand? She could say whatever she want to say. I talked to those producers before I even talked to her. They wanted to know what I had, what I was bringing, my pictures, all that stuff like that. And I told them about me, Tim, and Kirk. You understand what I'm saying? And how it would go. They did the same thing. This ain't the first time they stole from me, man. If you look at the Notorious Big, if you watch the Notorious Big, that part about the shoes, I had that in my book. And I was talking to K.O. Copeland. He was one of the writers of that movie. And I told him about when I let Big use my shoes at Soul Train Award. You had this old flunky ass dude, Mike B, get on Angie Martinez's show and talk about, yo, Big, he wore Mix Max shoes and he went out there and performed. When you go look at the film, when you go look at Big performing on that show, ain't nothing mixed match about them shoes. There was $800 Maury's, size 14D. Big wore 14E. E means that his shoes is a little wider than mine. He struggled, but he put them on and he went out there and performed. Those was my Gators that he had on. You understand? They did a little skit trying to disrespect me in the movie. You understand? And they said something about,
Gene also addressed the buzz about more 50 Cent content potentially dropping online. He believes if there were a way to stop it, it would have happened already. Its continued availability sends a message, raising questions about Diddy's current control versus what might already be slipping out of his hands.
Documentary. And if 50 do another one, and I heard he's gonna put it on YouTube or do whatever he's gonna do, Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do with that. Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do to try to stop that, because he can't. Because if he could stop it, it would have been stopped. You know why he can't stop it? Because Puff know people right there at Netflix. Don't think he don't. And I don't know if this guy still work for them, but he was part of the Flavor Unit, Shakim. He was part of the Flavor Unit. He was good friends. He was cool with Puff and them. Flavor Unit and them, Queen Latifah and them, they was cool with Puff. If Puff would have sent a cease and desist over there and they could do it and he had the power and they wasn't right, they would have been done it. You see, it's still rolling, right? It's still going on, right? He ain't got that power no more. You understand? Now, could he sue them because they used his likeness or used something and stuff like that? I don't know. I'm not that versed in they using him. You understand? If they can steal your whole damn idea, your whole damn ideal, why can't they steal your whole damn intellectual property?
He dug deeper into Diddy's long-running fixation on Tupac, framing it as a mindset, not just a passing thought. This focus, Gene argues, quietly influenced years of decisions, both personal and professional, and shaped Diddy's strategies in ways that still echo today.
I did see the interview that 50 did with Sherry, and he was talking about he didn't release the video about Puff having a kid by Kim Porter's friend, Sarah Chapman. Now, we all know that she used to date Tupac. You understand? So either he got her because he wanted some remnants of Tupac. We don't know. But it seemed like every dude that he had some kind of disdain, dislike, or that he idolized in a sense, he wanted their girl. Or he wanted to be a part of their girl. I don't know why. Yo, bro, this dude was, I don't know if he was in love or in hate for Tupac. He wanted to be an actor. He auditioned for, I think he auditioned for Juice. But Pac beat him out for that Bishop thing. You understand what I'm saying? He wanted to be a part of that. Just go, and not so many years ago, when Puff started getting into that drugs and started using drug stuff, he started revamping some of Tupac's speeches. And if you think I'm lying, go look at the Grammy speech he did. Go look at a couple of speeches he did. It was the same exact words Tupac had said. That he was gonna start this whole revolutionary of our people. That's Tupac. Black Lives Matter, the Black Liberation Movement, that was Pac. The Black Liberation Movement. Black Lives Matter? Come on, bro. This dude, everybody know that he had some kind of, I don't want to say disdain taste, but he had some kind of, I don't, jealousy of Tupac, bro. He had this.
Still, the documentary has blind spots. One glaring omission? Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner and mother of his kids, played a huge role in his life, yet her story barely made it in. She died unexpectedly in 2018 at just 47, officially from pneumonia, but the suddenness fueled ongoing questions. Many viewers feel brushing past her left the narrative incomplete, a major chapter unexplored.
Do you think that Diddy killed Kim Porter?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because of all the videotapes, because of the book, because of all the people she gave copies of her book to, or at least chapters, because of everything that she had on him, because of the tape that she used to blackmail him into a relationship and into a raise of him being sodomized by Andre Harrell. And I am not saying that allegedly, because I heard her and Kim Noor talking about it in the booth of the bathroom while snorting cane.
Kim was central to his world, witnessing private relationships, business moves, and moments the public never saw. Yet the documentary barely acknowledged her. Jean, who knew Kim personally and helped support her, says she understood far more than most realized. Omitting her story stripped the documentary of a critical layer, leaving the narrative feeling unfinished.
That she did have a book, and that her book was about to come out. And she was talking about all the perils, everything that she went through in the music business and with Diddy. All the men that they slept with together, because there were men that they slept with together. There were swinging times that they slept with together. I don't know, man. How do you put your girl through some shit like that? Or how do you look at your girl and knowing that she to another dude? What kind of demonic mind you have to be that far gone where that shit don't bother you? And got rid of them. They swimming with the fishes.
Wow, man. So she was about to expose all that in her book, them sleeping with men together.
She was going to expose everything. I heard it was tell all.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Just curious, right? Did you know that Diddy and Kim had that type of relationship back then in real time?
Yeah. Yep. Because I know somebody personally that lives in Atlanta that was swinging with them, and I would never mention his name because he's a good brother and he knows my family down there. You know, he knows my family down there, and I would never, you know, put his name out there like that. You know, he's been in the music business. He done put a lot of groups, A-listed groups out there.
Her presence was reduced to a few photos and a brief mention as Diddy's children's mother. That silence felt glaring, given how involved she was behind the scenes. Mark Curry added context, alleging that Diddy monitored her private communications and could react aggressively if displeased, citing a public confrontation involving a phone call she had with producer Shakir Stewart. These controlling dynamics never made it into the documentary, reinforcing that some critical perspectives were deliberately skipped.
The other day, they just did a whole thing with the girl that he was dating was the one that was putting the wiretaps and all of that out. It was a clear case. She came, hey, I was the one who was doing the wiretaping and all of this, right? The tapping. So I knew about this before she came out and said that she was the one that was doing it. I was sitting there like, damn. He know everything she doing. He know her conversations. I'm sitting there like when I'm sitting there right there next to him when I'm hearing them saying, this is what Shakir Stewart was saying to Kim Porter on the phone that made him mad. That made him so mad at Shakir Stewart when he went to L.A. Reid party, hit him with the chair. You don't think if he hit a man with a chair for dating this girl, you know, they gonna have a fight at home too. You know what I mean? That's why, you know, they say he busts her nose up on the boat. And have you ever been to Sandro Pay's see a brother play a mandolay? Remember that was in his song? I need a good woman next to me. So then it happened in Sandro Pay? Like that island. And then he bust her nose. They tried to make it seem like she slipped and fell. She slipped and fell and broke her nose. Nah, the truth was she slipped and fell and landed on his fist. Yeah, but that's what happens when you put your hands on females. I don't really have much respect for a man who's physically abusive towards women, man. I kind of think they be kind of suspect. I'd be like, man, you know, girl.
This fits a broader pattern. The documentary also glossed over Diddy's infamous parties, rumored for years to host top industry figures. Yet the film gave almost no detail. No names, no context, no depth. The absence seems deliberate, not accidental, hinting that certain conversations were intentionally left off screen.
Thoughts on all the his celebrity friends that denounced those allegations and were like, this is false, and you know,
liars.
They were saying, yeah, should they speak up now?
It's getting a little too late for those who are complicit. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
Jaguar Wright pushed the story further, highlighting Diddy's childhood. She says his early environment was unstable. His mother, often distracted, with strangers coming and going, which shaped his outlook long before fame. These formative experiences, Jaguar argues, left lasting impressions that influenced who he became.
Knows what he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up, involved, looking around, seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like her house was a house of, you know, professional freak-offs. So who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life.
Oh yeah. He was. I'm gonna say he was surprised to hear that.
School bus driver. No, was he surprised or was he like, zip it, you talking too much? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting up there, oh, because I was a bus driver and I was this, and I worked at the after hours. And I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips.
Jaguar also pointed out Diddy's pride in his father's dangerous street lifestyle, interpreting it as a sign of how deeply early influences shaped him. Embracing that image rather than distancing himself shows how formative experiences molded his mindset, values, and identity, echoes of which still affect his decisions today.
In Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say, that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler. That's what you heard that he was.
Well, I mean, like Tim said, they had a bunch of blaxploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like, I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got two women in the house and there's no men around, and these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over, PIMPs coming over, women who look like they were modeling for Jet Magazine coming over. Like, it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure for him it was, oh man, that's who my dad was. So I'm sure for him, it made him feel good because all of that stuff that he was watching, he really came from that, but that was really his legacy. And yeah, I'm sure for him it felt good to know that his dad was this big hustler who turned out to be a snitch, who got his brains removed.
Jaguar dives into how that early mindset fed directly into hip-hop's obsession with larger-than-life personas. She points out that so many artists' names and images were pulled from classic movie characters tied to authority, intimidation, and control. But for Diddy, it wasn't just inspiration, it was personal. That vibe mirrored the world he grew up in, and Jaguar says that connection went way beyond music or branding, shaping his whole self-image. She also touches on his relationship with his mother, unconventional, tense, and layered with unresolved dynamics, which adds a darker undertone to the bigger story she's unpacking.
For the situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother, can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean, somebody asked a question, what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn, I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video where he was talking about how his mom is still young and spry and how she still liked the party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video. It was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms.
No.
It's a very, very, very weird relationship.
Everything, Jaguar argues, comes back to Diddy's relationship with his own kids, and she calls it deeply alarming. Multiple sources allege the children were exposed to situations no kid should ever face. It raises serious red flags around judgment, boundaries, and accountability. But she says the most shocking part isn't just the claims, it's the silence surrounding them. Why did so many adults allegedly aware of these situations stay quiet? That question hangs heavy over the whole story.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of goes into. I mean, he seems to be having, and again, I know the freak offs that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved and didn't happen. If Lori Harvey was hanging out, and it's kind of weird, like the whole relationship with Justin looks weird. He looks like Mini-Me with Dr. Evil. It's weird. Like, why are there people? Why is there sexual behavior going on? And why are people naked in front of their kids, G? Doing all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, Misa's running around making comments about how she don't like the way that Eric Sermon was depicting her in the documentary. You don't like the way you're being talked about in the documentary. You don't like the fact that, because see, it wasn't Gene Deal, because Gene Deal said he wasn't there, and thank God that he was able to admit that. Kurt Burrows did say that he was there and present when Diddy was beating the brakes off Misa and putting the feet to her up underneath the car.
If 50 Cent drops a second wave of footage, it could change the game entirely. We could see new claims, fresh perspectives, and context that never made the original cut. Unseen interviews, deleted storylines, first-hand accounts, they could all reshape the narrative, especially as more people come forward. The big question, how much is still behind the curtain, and who could be affected if it finally sees the light? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think will surface next as this story keeps unfolding?